What's going on YouTube? Austin Zaback here with another video, and if you looked at the title, you looked at the thumbnail, then you know we're talking about selling real estate virtually, okay? And more specifically, wholesaling virtually, and how do you do it and how do you make a lot of money doing it, right? And if you're watching the video, maybe you're brand new to wholesaling or real estate investing in general, and this is really a video designed to show you how you can basically make pretty much as much money as you want to make virtually without ever actually, seeing the property, walking the property, and really without ever owning the property or buying the property at all, since wholesaling is just the concept of getting a property under contract and then assigning or double closing that contract to an end buyer. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, again, my name is Austin, and I'm actually a real estate investor where we wholesale anywhere from probably 20 to 40 wholesale deals a month, okay? I'm also a real estate agent, and I run a retail real estate team, and we have about 32 agents on our team as of right now. Now, I actually own a couple of other companies as well that aid in, really helping us scale the two main companies that I just talked about. And I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned to the very end. If you have ever thought about wholesaling, maybe you already are wholesaling, you want to become a better wholesaler, you want to make more money, you want to do more deals, or maybe you're a real estate agent and you're going on listing appointments, you're meeting with buyers and you're meeting with sellers, and you just want to add another tool to your tool belt. I do think understanding the world of investing in real estate is actually really, really important. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe if you haven't already. So, again, if you're not familiar with wholesaling, it's very simple, right? It's the concept of getting a property under contract with a seller where you're the buyer, but you're never actually buying the property. Instead of buying it, you're turning around and you're basically reselling that contract to another buyer before you actually close escrow, okay? Now, during that time, you're marketing the property to a potential buyer, okay, to an investor, a flipper, a landlord, or even in the market we've been in lately, a lot of people, including us, have been selling a lot of properties to a lot of big hedge funds, okay? And hedge funds, as you've seen, you probably watched a lot of the housing market videos, hedge funds are buying a lot of single family properties, very, very much so, especially over the last couple of years. Now, when you basically sell that contract, you're making what they call an assignment fee or a double escrow fee, okay? Now, typically, the average in America is probably somewhere around about $10,000. Now, but a lot of times, you could make 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 or more on one single deal. Now, obviously, it is your duty and obligation as a wholesaler to conduct, good business and have integrity and do the right thing, right? And I feel like a lot of people don't do that nowadays, so you definitely want to make sure you do that. But if you can provide a good enough deal to the end buyer where there's still enough room to make money, to do whatever it is that they're going to do, and you're still providing a service to the seller, and the seller's happy and the buyer's happy, and it just so happens that you're making 50 grand or whatever you're making in the process for getting it all set up and doing the right thing, then fine, so be it, So I'm going to really break down how are you able to do this. Obviously doing real estate investing in your own backyard is one thing. So wherever you live in the country, getting a deal in your own backyard where you can meet with the seller, you can talk to him face to face, you can look at the property, you can get pictures of the property, right? You can do everything in person. That is obviously fairly simple, right? Now, how do you do that same thing, virtually? And I'll tell you that we actually do a big majority of our business virtually, and it is not as hard as you would think. So we actually own a VA company, and it's really simple, right? We have a bunch of VAs that are in the Philippines that we pay, right? We hire them, we train them, we manage them, we do quality control, we do everything, okay? Now, all we got to do is give them data, okay? we have to skip trace that data to get contact information, right, for potential homeowners that are potential sellers, okay? And basically what we do is we do a lot of outbound cold calling, okay? And then, we basically establish if people are interested in selling their property, right? And once we confirm that they're interested in selling, then we follow up internally, right? Our acquisitions people and our real estate agents are following up internally, and they're referencing the context that, hey, we've already talked to you, one of our colleagues have already talked to you, and we know you're interested in selling, we'd love to talk more, right? From there, we, just like if it was in our own backyard, but virtually, we end up getting pictures of the property. Typically, the seller will send us pictures of the property, right? We then determine how much we can pay for the property, and we do everything from a contract standpoint via DocuSign. And then we go ahead and we turn around and we market that property to an end buyer. Now, depending on the state, we do a lot in Birmingham, we do a lot in Atlanta, we do a lot in Florida, we do a lot in Vegas, and so on and so forth. Depending on where we're talking about, okay, we will either sell it to a hedge fund or a regular buyer. Now, there's actually quite a bit more money, in my opinion, to be made virtually, depending on the situation, okay? Again, you have to think, in the United States, what markets are the best for doing that, right? And what are the odds that you actually live in that market, okay? So a lot of times, you want to be great in your own backyard. I couldn't agree more. But if there's an opportunity to wholesale virtually, and all you had to do was get a couple of cold callers, right? Or do whatever type of marketing you want to do. In my opinion, I think the best form of marketing is actually outbound cold calling by a long shot. But whatever form of marketing you want to do, to make a really good amount of income, I think it's 100% worth it. So obviously, when you think about virtual wholesaling, there's some variables and things that you've got to figure out, right? What state am I going to do it in, okay? I would do market research on the best markets to, wholesale, and really that's just based on how much cash transactions, like how many investors are in that particular market, right? Is there investor activity? Is there enough investor activity? And is the population big enough to where there's enough potential sellers that are going to be interested in selling at any given time, right? That really is the main thing you're looking for. Obviously, there's other things that you can look for too, but that's the main thing. Once you kind of narrow that down, then you've got to get data, right? Now, depending on where you're at in your journey, I use what they call PropStream, and I've got a link down below that'll get you a discount, topredata.com, okay? But from there, I'm able to filter what data do I want to pull, right? I can look at pre-foreclosures, I can look at divorces, I can look at probate, I can look at tax delinquent, right? Who are the people that are the most likely, that will be the most motivated to potentially want to sell their property, right? So again, that is a software I use, and I personally love it. You can pull your data from there, okay, for a pretty reasonable price, and then all you've got to do is you've got to get it skip traced, right? You need contact information. You need a phone number, an email. You need a way to reach out to the seller. Now, you can either use PropStream, okay, what we were just talking about, www.topredata.com, or link down below, or you can use batch skip tracing. Now, I really like them too, and there's other ones out there. Those are my favorite in my humble opinion. Again, I have a link for that down below, or you can use, I believe, code Zaback, and that'll get you a discount. But I do believe that they are the best. Data is really important because you can get data from a million different places, and one guy might be like, oh, I'll do it for, 5 cents a record, or I'll do it for 3 cents a record, but the records aren't any good, right? The phone numbers aren't any good, the email addresses aren't any good, and if the information's not accurate, then the data's not worth any money, it's not any good, right? So you want to make sure that you have good data, especially if you're going to be texting or cold calling or whatever it is that you're going to do, emailing, even if you're sending, different types of like direct mail or whatever. I mean, having good data is obviously really important, okay? So again, I'll include all the links down below, but basically that is all you have to do right now. From there, you do your marketing, okay? If you're interested in one of our VAs, we believe that we have one of the best VA companies out there definitely just drop in the comment section below, like VA, if you're interested in that, and I'll get back to you. But basically, you're doing some type of marketing, right? I believe cold calling is the best. Do whatever you want, right? You're doing marketing. You're having conversations with sellers, asking if they're interested in selling, and then you're making them an offer. Now, how do you make them an offer? By looking at the pictures and by looking at the comps, okay? I've done a bunch of videos on how to do that, obviously. But again, I believe it is very, very simple to do. And I think virtual wholesaling, arguably, there's more money to be made virtually than in your own backyard. It depends on where you live, obviously. If you live in one of the markets that I'm talking about, then good for you, right? But there's a lot of markets out there that are phenomenal markets that I don't live in, right? So I have to virtually wholesale. And honestly, now that I'm virtually wholesaling, it opens up different doors for me to look at different properties and say, well, hey, I want to keep that one as a rental. Or, we're working on eventually starting a fund. Let's raise capital and let's buy a property in that area, right? Let's buy a multifamily. Let's buy multiple, single family properties. Let's look at acquiring property in that area because now I'm familiar with the market, right? I'm wholesaling, and wholesaling allows you not only to make money, but to get familiar with any given particular market, right? You're able to look at the data, you're able to see what people are buying, and you're able to really understand, what is good and not good in that particular market. The one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't limit yourself. If you're watching the video and you're an agent, I would definitely incorporate, wholesaling or investing, fix and flipping, Airbnb, whatever it is into your strategy, right? Because, we live in a world now where the homeowner, the seller, they want options, and so even if you're working with Open Door or OfferPad or whatever, or one of the bigger hedge funds that you're working with, some local investors or whatever, being able to communicate with a homeowner, with a seller, and give them options, right? That's what they want at the end of the day. So you've got to be able to give that to them, okay? I really believe that the more you serve the homeowner, serve the seller, I'm not trying to force them into a box, right? I say, listen, here's our cash offer. Here's 5 other cash offers from, different people that are in our network. Here's where we think we could list the property at, right? And I give them multiple different options. I say, hey, we can do a trade-in on your home. We can do this. We can do that. We can get creative. Whatever we got to do to help them. But I'm not trying to force them into a box, and therefore, it almost isn't even a sale at all. It's just me there trying to help them. You choose what works best for you. And then, again, you're able to make money regardless of what works best for the homeowner, okay? So again, if you're watching the video and you're a wholesaler, maybe you should go become an agent. If you're an agent, maybe you should learn investing, right? If you're a wholesaler in your own backyard, maybe you should look into virtual wholesaling and do it in multiple different states, right? Do it nationwide. I would just encourage you to add more tools to your tool belt as a real estate entrepreneur, okay? Let's just call it that, because I think that kind of encompasses everything that we're talking about, okay? And again, there's a million ways you can do real estate, and I think that's why I love real estate so much. So I'm happy to make more real estate content. If you liked the video, I would really appreciate you smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribing if you haven't already, drop in the comments down below if you're interested in a VA, or if you want me to make other content on real estate that is not already on my channel, I'd love to make it for you. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.